If this is your first time in my live, my name is Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I am the apostle and pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs. The ATRs are the African traditional religions by which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. To each and every one of you guys, first of all, I want to say salutation to my Padrino, to my Oba, to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Palo, and Kimbanda, and any of the ATRs. I want to say to each and every one of you guys that have tuned in, thank you so much for being a part of our platform. Here we teach about universal laws. I do not teach my personal beliefs or practices. I teach universal laws because they apply and applicable to each and every one. What's up, my Triron Aries in the house? To each and every one of you guys, this is for melanated people, and especially those that are in the United States of America, and teaching us how to actually function when it comes down to the ATRs. I want to say, first of all, salutations also to my Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Aquarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Leo, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, and Virgo. Hello to each and every one of y'all, God. What's up, my baby Scorpio? What's up, my bow ass? Now, I want to talk about this as above, so below. We're talking about the sun energy. And the Leo rules the sun. And Leo also represents the heart. And I want to talk about giving us an opportunity to make better decisions when it comes down to magic, spell work, offerings, when it comes down to deciding whether to cut and clear or to draw something to us. Each day brings on a different energy. This particular energy, a sun, is our battery, basically our solar plexus. Its representation of sun. It's our personal power. This is why I would never get away from our sign, our zodiac sign, because that's the energy that you came into the world in spirit first, and that was your date of birth, and that energy, that frequency, and that vibration follows you all through your life, and no matter what you partake in, that energy is present. So the better you understand that energy, that frequency, that vibration, and how it works and it interacts with other energy, you'll have a more successful spiritual walk and spiritual life. What's that? So I want to talk about this. This has been an extraordinary walk in my journey. I've been doing magic ever since I was a child. I'm 53 years of age. Doing magic that long and seeing some extraordinary things even when I was young, even when I wasn't participating in ceremonies. I seen the spirit move in certain fashions and fulfill certain desires and seen that thing come to pass. And I want to share something, especially with my members and my tribe, and especially people that follow me from TikTok and here on my YouTube page. And these videos are intended to be life changing if applied. This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is separate from what I would share in a class. But nevertheless, it's still important, it's useful, and it's resourceful. And one of the things in my process of what I've been personally going through, I have learned a lot more than I knew when it came to my gift, my abilities, and also my endurance. It's easy to talk about something that you read. It's easy to talk about something that you heard. But when you go through a trial, and you go through a trial that not only tests your mettle, but tests the mettle of people around you, and also people that are around watching, the audience. Everybody could learn something. Everybody, especially on today. And I'm going to teach something that will bring more clarity. And my subject is today coming a long way in a short time. I've had things manifest very quickly in my life. But this journey that was forecasted for me to be going through certain things at a later date, and God intervening, spirit ancestor intervening, to the point I'm ahead of schedule. I'm still not out the woods, but I'm still ahead of schedule. My people that are watching, people that believed in me, people that didn't believe in me, people that didn't even believe in themselves. Let me tell you something. What you will always get from me is something authentic, a person that is an individual. When it comes down to the ATRs, I own my energy. I demonstrate who I am as a Sagittarius, sun sign, moon sign in Aries, and rising sign Pisces. That is very, very, very important, because when it comes down to how I manifest in particular trials, it has a lot to do with my energy, my frequency, and my vibration, and what I'm allowing to function in my life. The moment you stop beating up on yourself for being an Aries, a Pisces, a Taurus, or Gemini, a Scorpio, a Aquarius, a Cancer, Capricorn, in this journey, you have to have a love for who you are and who you were born to be. Because this is going to keep you from allowing the opinions, the suggestions of other people, places, and things in your life. This is what's going to help you have boundaries. When it comes down to spirituality, and I don't care for somebody that's initiated in more than one tradition, what is common denominator is my energy, my frequency, my ancestor, my vibrations, the spirits that came along with me. And that's going to be the same true when it comes to you. Your desires will change. Sometimes they will change because of your situation, your conditioning, or sometimes your age. Your needs gonna change because of circumstance, situation, maybe up or down, but they will change. But that will remain consistent is your energy, your frequency, your vibration, and how you choose to navigate. And what I mean by navigate, maneuver in life, not only for your goals, but how you can also be a part of other people's manifestations and not allow what they got going on to hinder what you got going on, even though you know how far to go. That's something I had to still learning, but I'm learning more so because of this trial. What's up, Demetrius, my Gemini? When I say coming a long way in a short time, I want to come from, what's up, Sister Cal, Cancer in the house. I want to come from Matthew the 8th chapter. And I really want you, those that have been around me, especially those that have physically been around me, those that have been watching me through my videos over a serious amount of time, you will see a consistent thread with me. I do not deviate from this. I have learned more spells. I've learned more rituals. I have learned other ways of doing things. But it has always been on the basis of who my energy is and who my ancestors are and what they have the capabilities of doing. I'm going to be coming from Matthew the 8th chapter and starting with verse 5. I got my glasses on because these words are too small. I'm getting older. I'm doing better, but I want to make sure I can read this correctly without a strain. It says, and when Jesus or Yahshua was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him or asking him, what's up, my Boaz? Listen to this. He said, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick with palsy, grievously tormented. Now, the centurion, and this is what good about people that understand your condition. You don't want people in your life relaying messages with incomplete information. If you're going to go and see the king, if you're going to go see the magi, if you're going to go see the rabbi, if you're going to go see the tata, the mumbo, the hugan, and you have somebody that is speaking, you want that person to be informed. Informed that Jesus knew exactly what he needed to pray for when he got there. Always understand that your clarity is your friend. When you are clear about what you have need of, when you're clear about what you need to overcome, you can request accurately. So let me go on. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. And the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. He said, now this is what got me. In the journey of following Yahshua or Jesus, the centurion was aware what was happening. A lot of times, and I want y'all to really hear me, before God moves in your situation, you done seen enough God moving in somebody else's situation for you to get some understanding, for you to get some type of peace, for you to get some type of stability in your situation. Here is the centurion, and I want to clarify this. He said in verse 9, he said, I am a man under authority, and having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goeth. And I say to another, come, and he cometh. And to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said unto them that followed. Always remember, you can't experience something. You can't hear something. You can't be a part of something you're not following. I'm going to say that again. Because the centurion was a disciplined man. This is why if you're a disciplinary, is being disciplined matters whether male or female, rich or poor. Because this puts you in control, even though you're submitted to authority. When you feel like nobody can tell you nothing, when you feel like you know it all, when you feel like I've been doing it this way all this time, why change? I'm going to give you a reason. He said, when Jesus heard this, he marveled and said unto them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great a faith, not even in Israel, even among my own. Let me explain something. My purpose is not to get you initiated. If you want to get initiated, fine. My purpose is not get you to be a part of my ministry. If you become a part of my ministry, great. My purpose is for you to see the evidence and that your belief system, whether you're in hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, you go to church 7 days a week, or you go 2 days a week, or you don't go at all. When you hear somebody that is a chosen vessel to represent that energy, that frequency, and that enlightenment, you have to understand, you got to have somebody that has gone through certain things. And this Satirian is standing here and walking with Christ and getting, yes, I'm still doing court cases, and still walking with this man. And he's watching his gift. If you've been watching for a short time or a long time, you should be able to recognize the gift or the talent in a man or woman. And in my case, you've been watching God move in spite of my journey, in spite of my transition, in spite of my obstacle. That's the reason why I'm good at what I do. I have on-hand training when it comes down to utilizing my energy, my frequency, and my vibration. I was thinking about when I actually grew up, and I was thinking about how much stuff that was always happening. You know, we have a big family, and they always in the stuff, getting in legal trouble, women trouble, man trouble, just all kind of things. So through my experiences, I got an opportunity to home in on my craft. I got an opportunity to get involved to the point I saw change. And let me tell you something, because this really molded my way how I deal spiritually with my clientele or anybody really. I've always said this. I got to have something for you to be able to move for you. You don't have to be my favorite person, but I got to see something in you that makes it worth me going to battle or going to bat for you. This is important. This is why Yeshua came, because he had a love for the world, the concept. And this allowed him to be willing to go through all the situations and circumstances that he was going through. But he was astounded because he marveled at the faith of the centurion. Let me say this. Yeshua, this journey that I own, and especially this thing with my health, I came a long way in a short time. And I'm going to tell you how I minimize the journey of my destination to through breakthrough. So if you find yourself in a situation or in a circumstance, one of the main things that happened with the centurion that also happened with me, when you get understanding of where you at and what you working with. I'm gonna say this again. When you get an understanding, when your clarity, when the lights come on, and you in the midst of a situation, and you about to ask God for strength to climb the mountain, and you keep watching, this is why you got to have a cloud of witness. You got to have a cloud of witness, people in the ATRs, and also people that know how to praise God and glorify their father and the mother. As he was going through his situation, as I was going through my situation, I began to see God move behind the scene. And then I got to the point, I got me some understanding. Even though the scripture tell you not to lean to your understanding, but he said, in all you're getting, get you some understanding. Get you some clarity. Bo like to say, mental clarity. My point is, for you ask God for the strength to climb the mountain, you start understanding that you don't need strength to climb the mountain, but you can speak to that mountain and that mountain be removed. Let me tell you something. Your circumstances don't have to change. The situation don't have to change. But the mountain is the mountain. But because of your understanding, you address that mountain very differently. I like what Ryan says, my extraterrestrial facts. These are the things that give you enlightenment or understanding of where you at and who you're dealing with or what you're dealing with. And then that allows you to move forward in your life. I want you to understand, you can get a lot, you can cut down a lot of time, a lot of frustration by getting some understanding. We was on live, and somebody was talking about the Holy Spirit. I pointed out in Isaiah 11 that there are many Holy Spirits, which mean clean spirits. But each one of those spirits give you different understanding, different trials, different situations. You have the opportunity to get understanding in that. And understanding puts you in position. When you have understanding and you have clarity, are y'all hearing me? This is Sunday. I want to talk about authority. I want to talk about jurisdiction. And I want to talk about here at the Centurion, having authority, understanding authority. If you don't learn nothing else from Apostle Ely, you can't be a part of something that you don't have no understanding. You need to be clear about what you're handling. When you're working with sulfur, you need to be clear about what sulfur can do positively and also negatively. You need to be clear about how you're going to position yourself for financial growth, for financial upheaval. This cuts down the time for you to get to your destination. When you are a person that you're still trying to do the same thing, looking for a different result, you're like the children of Israel. You're in a 3-day journey, turned into 40 years. You can extend your suffrage. You can extend your going through. You can extend experiencing troubled waters. Or you can minimize the effect of your trials, your daily situation, by getting understanding. And you don't get understanding by talking. You get understanding by listening. I'm going to say this again. Don't let nobody fool you. Even though they talk against the church, they talk against covenant, all that. You would not have the understanding, good or bad, if it wasn't for what you went through. Decisions bring clarity. That we call it hindsight. A lot of times we're making decisions and we understanding now why he say or she say, sit down and count up the cost. Before you jump out there, make sure you got a safety net. You start understanding two are better than one. I don't care how much of a loner I can be. I understand. Hear what I'm saying? I understand. I'm clear that it ain't good for a man to be alone. It's not good to be caught by yourself. You can still be who you are. You can still have a mindset But when it comes down to understanding, that's your clarity. That's you shorting the time that you would have spent in that situation and finding yourself in a better situation. Somebody said, thank you. Authority. I want to bring it on because we talking about the sun energy, and your personal power is your authority. This is your ability. But in him understanding authority, this is why he realized who Christ was. And he said, I'm not worthy for you to enter into my house, but speak the word only. Because I understand, just like my soldiers go to and fro. That's why people was, Apostle Ely, you going through this. I wouldn't give a goddamn if I was in Timbuktu and my pops were here in Florida, or my Risha were here in Florida, or my ancestors were born. Though when I call them, I want somebody to really hear me today. This is what I love, when people actually understand who I am. My spiritual dad, his spiritual dad, was on his deathbed carrying out a ceremony. Come on here, somebody. He was on his deathbed and still was passing sentence. Because when you have it, it follows you even into the grave. A situation, a circumstance, a climate does not restrict the gift, the talent, the authority that God has given to a man or woman. If they got it, they still got it. That's why Samuel was still able to rise as the prophet of God, because he died as the prophet of God. Giving up this human flesh, or this human flesh being confined to certain things, does not hinder the anointing, the energy, the frequency, the vibration. So when somebody talking to you like that, when they say, Apostle Ely, I know that all I got to do is send my offer. Apostle Ely, all I got to do is do my part. And I'm tapping into that authority, that energy, that frequency and vibration. But I want to talk about the centurion. He also recognized that he had authority, but it was not in his jurisdiction. Christ not only had authority to heal the sick and raise the dead, he also had jurisdiction. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. Some people jurisdiction is limited, not only because of them, but also because of the environment. I'm gonna say this again. You can have authority, you can have a gift, you come out on social media and you do reading, you do this and do that, but there are spaces you got to understand how to utilize your authority, whether you're in jurisdiction, places that are spaces that you have the right to be in, and also operating in your authority when you don't have jurisdiction. But you will always have your authority. You will always have your energy. You will always have your gift or your talent. Energy cannot be destroyed. This man still got his servant healed. I want to explain this part. A lot of times in life and in these spiritual journeys, and whether you're in the church or whether you're in ATRs, you need somebody to come to your house for you to believe. It wasn't a thing that the centurion didn't believe that Christ, Yahshua, was who he was. He felt like you need to come into the vicinity of my servant and lay your hands on my servant. See, if God deliver you one way you start expecting him to deliver you that same way in the same situation. I'm going to say it again. When the Spirit bring you through, when the ancestors bring you through one way in January, the first week of January, you expect the provision of God, the protection of God to operate in the same facet. And that's not true. If you're going to say there's no limit to his knowledge, wisdom, or understanding, there's more than one way that God can get you healed. There's more than one way that God can get you a financial breakthrough. There's more than one way that God can mend a broken heart. Many ways. His thoughts are above our thoughts. And when you operate in the higher self, your lower mind thinks one way, but your higher mind thinks a totally different. And when you get that understanding of who's on board and who you allow to drive, and I did say allow. This is all magic. All this stuff need to take place before you utter out your mouth. When the centurion beseeched the Lord, and he first asked him to come to his house, he was in one state of understanding. Sometimes you got to go through a couple of chapters in your life to get you some understanding. Everybody don't make their journey short. Everybody don't make their turnaround short. They got to go from chapter to chapter before they get any type of understanding. Before anything in the lighthouse come on. But if you are able to listen to a cloud of witness, and you are able to perceive that this man's ability, I don't need him to come to my house to get this done. This is when people are talking about, oh, Apostle Eden, did you burn my... I'm the candle. I'm the incense. I'm the air. I'm the fire. I'm the earth. I'm the water. I'm the metal. When you come into this, and depending on who you listening to, of how they teach and why they teach the way they teach, that's why you should be clear about who you learning from. So you don't feel like somebody down to you. A lot of people that come out of church, especially religious churches, always feel like somebody putting them down. You never have the understanding that you're being put in your place. I'm going to say this again. When you have understanding, you know your lane. And you know why certain things are being said to you, said about you, because of your understanding. There are certain things, because I have certain understanding, that I don't walk around mad with people, even if they think something about me that is not true. If they think something about me that is true, I still have to understand it ain't none of their business. Let me tell y'all something. A lot of things y'all hear on social media, talk is only as good as your actions. And I can't speak for nobody else. But I can speak for what I believe. I believe my word is my bond. I believe that not only that the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, I'm a part of that process. I believe that the I am. I believe in my authority. I believe in increasing or extending my authority through growth and ceremonies and my obedience to the Spirit. Because I understand and I'm very clear that promotion don't come from man. It come from God. It don't come from north or the south. Let me explain something, y'all. That's whether it's a job or your own business. If you had the understanding that when you did the work, the reason why we pray to God and we burn our bayberry candles or our different candles and or burn out certain incense, we sending that to God, the divine, the universe. And with that understanding, God get a promotion. That's when we say, whom God bless, can't no man curse. See, if you had clear understanding, you would understand in that understanding why you are positioned and why certain things are happening. A lot of you guys, and I do appreciate it, you were like, oh, Apostle Eli, I thank you for doing this and doing that. No, you set that in motion because you wanted the work done. Your decision to hook up, your decision to Zelle, your decision to pay back, however you decided, puts you in a position of getting certain outcomes. That's what understanding is. I understand my teacher is there to teach me. And therefore, in my understanding as the student, I'm going to get all I need or can get from my teacher. But when I don't have the understanding, I will go in the teacher class and try to teach the teacher. And that's zero understanding. A lot of time people come into my lives, and not everybody, but people come into lives, and you think you're there to school somebody, and you need to be schooled because you ain't been through enough. You ain't endured enough. And that what you think you believe, once it is tried by fire, then we're going to see you backing up off of what you believe. It's a lot of people that are in the ATRs, in Christianity, pastors, leaders, and people that claim to be believers. You don't know what you believe in and what it can do until you've been tried by fire. Let me say this. This man not only had the understanding on the clarity, he was making an opportunity to wow God. There's not many places in the Bible that speaks of God being marveled, astonished, shocked at the faith. And normally that shock came from people that was on the outside. Let me explain this. It ain't nobody's fault that you're in a house, you're in an elay, you're in a church, you're in a covenant, and the same information is being divulged. And somebody on the outside have more faith in what they're hearing than you on the inside. And that is because certain men, we call that entitlement. We call that not allowing your situation to cultivate you. But you are expecting things to come to you because of who you are. You done took the focus off of the spirit, energy, frequency, and vibration, and you put it on a mundane thing. I heard people, oh, I ain't worried about the apostle gonna do it. You ain't worried about it. That's not apostle's problem. That's not apostle's situation. Always understand why the spirit of understanding needs to be present in your life. You will stop allowing people's opinion to affect your mindset if you had understanding. A lot of people see me where I am now. I went through similar stuff like many of you. And I had to get to the point. I remember I was singing somewhere, and my auntie started really ridiculing me after I got through performing. And I had got upset because of what she said. I'm a 5 sign. And The Spirit spoke to me. He said, has she ever cut a record? Have she ever signed anybody to a label? And I say this to say that he let me know she wasn't the authority on that particular area. And a lot of times we let people that are not an authority in that field pass an opinion that affect us, not only mentally but emotionally, and sometimes prohibits us from moving forward. Let me tell you something about opinion, especially if you're on this journey, especially if you are trying to do something different than your family. I'm ready to hit some places. You have to make a personal commitment to self. You have to be very clear what you're doing. You have to be very clear about your intention or why you even doing what you're doing. My trials that I'm going through in my church, my ministry, my body, it's all for the glorification of the spirit world, the divine. You know why? Because I am a beacon of light for you to see what can be done if you obey, if you don't lean to your understanding. I watched this journey, and I was telling Sister Tree, I said, I have come along. Let me tell y'all something. Anybody ever got work from me can attest to this. But when your doctors, because my situation is medical, when your doctors are astounded with your progress, I have done spiritual work for people in their health situation and was very used to hearing the report turn around in their favor. But it's different when you sit in that seat to the point that you're the one that's in that slingshot. And what I did notice through my trial, that no matter what I thought, what I felt, what I didn't know, once I got understanding, there's a peace that came over me. I still was in the situation, but I got an understanding what I was dealing with. Some of you don't think that you so busy trying to have a relationship, you're not trying to understand the person you're trying to have a relationship with. You so busy trying to have a successful business, you don't understand the market that you in. Even though I tell y'all I don't bother people, people bother me. But I do have clear understanding that I don't have to bother nobody for somebody to bother me. For somebody to try to tamper with what I got going on. With somebody trying to create a stumbling block. I want you to understand that even if you are a person that chooses not to indulge in other people's affairs, that somebody somewhere gonna see a need to get in your business, to drive in your lane. You got to have that understanding. I'm not saying you ain't gonna be frustrated. I'm not gonna say that you ain't gonna get upset. But when you have understanding, it'll keep you cool. It'll give you a position to handle that situation in spite of you being frustrated or you upset or pissed in some cases. This is why I teach magic this way. Because you can do a spell, you can do a ritual and have no understanding. I know why I'm utilizing certain things, and I know why I'm not, because I have understanding. I know how the elements work. I understand that nothing can manifest on the earth plane unless it goes through one of those elements, if not all three or all five. I don't care what the science is. And I know that air and fire are projective energies. So they manifest very different than earth energy and water energy because they're receptive. You got to have that understanding. When you go into the kitchen, you got to understand your seasoning. You got to understand your ingredients. You got to know how to have authority in that kitchen. You come to possess. You come to direct. You come to execute. And you can't execute when you don't have understanding. This is why I tell people all the time, you need to learn how magic works. I'm going to say this again. I'm able to build your confidence with clarity, with precision, because I understand. Not only that, if you're trying to be successful, you need to understand people. I'm going to say that again. If you're going to have customers, clients, you need to understand people, not just you. Understand who you gonna draw. I talked about this Friday. I don't do work just to be doing work. I'm dealing with Saint Michael today. I got his sigil out. And I want y'all to understand something. When you sow seeds, when you give to certain energy, you shouldn't have the understanding. What energy is he dealing with today? I have some people say, okay, Apostle, what incense we burning today? Or Apostle Ely, could you burn this particular incense for me? Because they understand that incense creates atmosphere. And they want their atmosphere to have certain energies in it. And you need to utilize that. Not only when I burn incense, when you burn incense. When you light a candle. Even though I light candles for you. I do workings for you. But when you have understanding how your magi, your rabbi, your spiritualist operates, then you can benefit with that understanding from that work. More so than you could when you don't have understanding. I was thinking about how in the situation that when you in this when you're going through a situation and you have authority but you don't have jurisdiction. So let me explain that. The centurion understood that what he desired, he did not have jurisdiction over. Just because you're in a place that you don't have jurisdiction in, doesn't mean you can't get your desire fulfilled. He knew that Jesus or Yahshua had jurisdiction. Not only he had authority, but he also had jurisdiction over that particular area of his servant life. This is so important when the Bible talks about God not gonna give you your own unless you know how to serve in somebody else's house. We want to throw away a lot of principles and we want to talk about what's happening in our life and what's not happening in our life. But if you're trying to get like the Jobez prayer, when you want spirit or ancestor to enlarge your territory, understand that level that you're asking to go in. Understand what it's going to do for you. What's the purpose of going to that particular platform in your life. The more I understand social media, the better I execute who I am, my authority. The more I understand how I interconnect with people through social media, the more I'm able to put myself in position to be a blessing. Is anybody hearing me? The more you have an understanding what it is to be a wife, the more you can put yourself in position to be a beneficial wife. The more you have an understanding of your role as a father and as a husband, the more effective you can be. Don't just say that you are something. Have the understanding of what it is that you're declaring about yourself. If you're going to say that you are the light, you are the resurrection, you are the door, then you need to understand what all that entails. So when people have expectations and when they're knocking on you, because you don't declare yourself to be the door, now there's knocks coming on your door. The Bible says, think it not strange of the fiery trial. When you get certain attention, I've been out here, I was doing my thing in social media, going through my ceremonies. I had clear understanding that I was amassing haters. I felt I knew that people think I'm a show off. I flex, but it ain't show off. Because the only time I start flexing is when you fail to acknowledge my contribution. When you go around acting like you were inspired by your spirit, by your ancestors, by your Egun, by your Moreto, when you were really inspired by Chief Apostle Samuel Ely Jr. You start talking on certain lines because of what I brought to social media. This is why I don't have a problem paying homage to anybody that inspired me, helped me. I talk about my family. I talk about different ones that I have enacted. When you see all the decoration when it comes to my Orishas, yes, that's my creativity. But who put me on to that is my Padrino. He the one sent me to the place that I go to. I built upon that. But I'm going to always give him credit. I don't care what I do. Because I would have never knew that existed. And I used to drive. I'm in Miami all the time. I be drive. I done drove by that place so many times. Didn't even know it existed. There are certain people in your life that bring you to light about things that allow you to start executing your plans on a whole nother level. I don't want you to be struggling. But I don't want you to hinder me because you don't want to change. You don't want to invest. You don't want to grow. We got stuff going on that we need more than ideas. We need people that know how to walk in their authority. We need people that understand jurisdiction. If you came to me about something that's not my thing, if I can't guide you to somebody else, I tell you, like, you got to keep on searching because I don't do that. And yes, those are of apostle. Real. Thank you, Demetri. I want y'all to know this. Not only have I come a long way in a short time, It is for me to share what it was about my mindset. What about me utilizing the herbs, me utilizing prayers, me utilizing the help of my family and my children to get to where I am. My members of my church, the ones that stick around. It was so upsetting to me that certain people did not believe that I was coming through this. And me and my other son was talking, and we were talking about this before, but miracles, signs, and wonders don't make people believe. People can see all this work being done, but when it comes to certain things, they don't see that. The only reason they are able to see the miracle, signs, and wonders is because I was manifesting them. The only reason why they had the level of faith that they acquired was because of what I kept exemplifying. And this is the thing I want you to remember. Out of everything Yahshua told the disciples, and he told them that he would die, but he would resurrect in 3 days. None of them were waiting on him at his tomb. This is how you know people hear you, but they don't believe what is being said. And that's cool in a sense, because everybody don't. Yahshua is a master. The disciples are disciples. It's not that you have to believe on the levels that I believe on. I trust them. But you should be listening and trying to apply yourself. And I don't want you to think that when you get into ATR that you're going to have this enormous faith and belief. Because if you don't believe God in Christianity, you're not going to believe God in Ifa. Whether you calling God a different name or a different gender, it's still relationship. You should trust what the father can do, and you should trust what the mother can do. And you as the I am, or the child, or the birth principle or God particle, you should trust what you do. I want y'all to be encouraged in this thing called spirituality, in the journeys. And if you so choose to want to teach somebody, be as transparent so they can see behind the scenes and they have a better understanding of what it's going to take for them to walk that journey. Not going around here, I don't want, oh, my family don't believe in me. I'm going to make you look like a fool for not believing in me. But arguing with you about what you don't believe in this, you don't believe in that, I don't care. And that's just with my family. Some of y'all get so tripped up when it comes to family. But you trying to have a relationship with a divine God, a goddess, that lives outside of this spectrum. How that gonna work? When you get on this journey, make sure you got understanding of what it's gonna cost you to be on this journey. Who you gonna have to show up for in this journey? What you gonna have to do to make things show up for you? Even me being on here and being able to do the work I've been doing all my life. After going through what I've been through, a lot of people want to pull through because they don't have the mindset. They're not in a place themselves, and they never put anybody in a place to actually believe anywhere close to what they're requesting. I had a lot of confidence in my sons. I had a lot of confidence in my sister. There are certain people, they've done stuff for me. And I'm going to say this. I look to certain people for certain things. And when you are around somebody that long and you keep seeing manifestation after manifestation, not only with them, but other people that they work for, it says a lot about what you ain't been paying attention to, about what you've been overlooking. And I was talking to one of my members, and she was telling me how she felt about situations, circumstances, and the things I've said on social media. And I said this. I said, as long as I don't call your name, you ain't gonna never change. Because you'll pretend like I'm not talking to you. Even though I know you know this word is for you. I'm not doing all this for you not to grow. I'm not doing all this and introducing you to different things for you not to be in a place. When you hear the story about Jesus cursing the fig tree, you need to understand, hey, that word come on. You need to understand why he cursed it. The Bible said that Yahshua was hungry. And the fig tree was in season to produce fruit. God would never ask you for something or expect something of you that you can't produce. But when he come to your tree in Ifa, in voodoo, in Christianity, as a mother, when he comes to you as the widow with the cake, you need to have some fruit to quench his thirst and fill his hunger. He done took you through enough situation that there are certain fruits should be hanging from your tree. I don't care who you are. You done been exposed to too much light to produce fruit. And when you understand that even as a fig tree, you understand why he was upset. A lot of y'all act like you don't understand why certain people feel certain types of ways. And you really should. If you weren't so busy trying to use and get and take, you will understand that they didn't see that as a take. They saw that as an investment. I done said over and over on my multiple platforms, teaching people how to invest. Because investment is an energy of return, an energy of harvest. This is how you walk in your authority. Stop letting people take the narrative of situations that they experience in your life. When the disciples and them came by the next day, they saw that the fig tree had withered. Don't let the divine father or mother come to your tree and you have no fruit and you are definitely in your season. We sang this song, it's a new season, it's a new day, fresh anointing coming my way. Where's your fruit? Where's the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding dangling from your tree? Where's the clarity? You should have good fruit. I've been tilling the soil. I've been fertilizing. I've been watering. I'm showing you what can be done. Instead of us getting faith from your tree, all we can pull from your tree is doubt and unbelief. Nobody's watering your tear. They watering wheat. You want to be an asset in life and not a liability. I'm going to say this again. Coming a long way in a short time had a lot to do with that I was an asset to people. If you want people to fight for you, sir and ma'am, I don't care what tradition you in, where you at in life, it is easier to fight for somebody that has impacted your life than to fight for somebody that has not impacted your life. I don't care what you're going through, your fruit is important. You need to give shade to people when they're going through their fiery trial. So when you're going through yours, somebody gonna give you shade. And normally it's not the people that you give shade to. It's gonna be somebody else. But you still gonna get and reap what you sow. I want magic to be shown in a way where people cannot easily demonize. This is still Black History Month. We melanated. We dark matter. We carbon energy. And with all the plights that we have gone through already before there was a Trump administration, our skill set, this is why you hear certain people on social media saying black people are going to be all right. Because we created this shit. The inventions, the conjure, the systems. And we're gonna, because the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, we're children of the earth. We're tapped into the melanin in the earth. And Mother Nature always got an answer. Mother Nature always got an answer. Always got a breakthrough. Always got provision. Be encouraged. Not in the sense of just saying, oh, I want better out of life, or I want to be a better person, a better version of my spirituality. But understand what your authority is. Understand jurisdiction. Respect the jurisdiction of other people. This is why you hear people talking about don't mix certain traditions. When you first looked at voodoo, you didn't understand that they weren't really calling on the saints. They were calling on Loas. Because you got understanding now. You should have a better understanding why this journey means so much to me. And why I even get up and come to social media. Why I even address these spiritual topics. If I'm helping you, support. If I'm being a light, walk in the light. If I'm bringing clarity, then now that you're clear, make better decisions. Associate with people that have a mindset to grow and to develop. Be a part of this tribe that we have. Be a part of this ministry. that we have. But come to learn, come to experience, and then grow. And grow with understanding. Grow with authority. Knowing that authority don't mean you walk around and bully people. I done retired from UPS. I'm not out there bothering people. I ain't out there bothering people. I get my check. I don't bother them. Know when it's time to move on. And try, if you can help it, try to leave things with a good name. Not perfect, but a good name. I said this people recently, and I was saying, I guarantee you my good outweigh my bad. I guarantee you that. Because I strive to help people. And I believe in helping people by example. And when I fall short, I strive to make a get back for that. So I want to thank you all that stood out here on this Sunday, especially on Black History Month in the United States. And be encouraged in your melanin, your dark matter, your carbon energy. It's the building block of life. It's here for us to assimilate, to display, to endure. And this is the opportunity that many of us, including myself, get an opportunity to show these people what we made of. Racism cannot prevail against the excellency of melanated people. We got to believe that. And we got to know that. And we got to get around people that don't mind executing that in like fashion. All right. God bless you.